Hi, fellow traders. I want to thank you guys that hung out with me this morning here on YouTube for a live feed, a live stream. You guys got to see what it's like every day here in the Average Joe Trading education community. It's all about education. It's all about teaching you how to execute. And I'm not going to execute perfectly every day, and you're going to learn from my mistakes in executing. But again, execution is what we can do perfectly. We have the ability to execute our trade plan at 100%. Now, the trades aren't going to work 100% of the time, but how we execute should be 100%. And we have the ability to, or the chance and the ability to do everything at 100%. So, if you haven't checked it out, the recording should be up now. You can go over and check that out. So the trades that I'm going to cover today, a recap, you'll be able to see happen live. But what I want to share with you today, this quote: there are no shortcuts to any heights worth conquering. You know what this is a picture I took off of Klingman's Dome. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's the highest point in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, on the Appalachian Trail. Actually, you could deviate from the Appalachian Trail and climb to the top. And here's right over here is Klingman's, what they call Klingman's Dome. It's an observation tower. You can look 360 degrees around. But what the coolest thing is when you get there is oftentimes, if you get there at the right time, like later in the evening, you'll be in the clouds. You know, you'll have clouds come over and you'll actually be in the cloud. It's the coolest thing. Something that I've never experienced. But the point of the story is what it took to get there. Now, there are no shortcuts to get to this part. And I'm telling you, it is breathtaking. There's nowhere else in the United States, or there may be some places, but you just can't get that view from there, from anywhere else. But it's a half a mile, a trail from the parking lot to the top. It's a half a mile, and I know it doesn't sound like a long way, but let me tell you, the grade on that is steep, and it will challenge you every step of the way. I wanted to quit 3 or 4 times and just turn around and go back down. That's just how hard it was and how tough it was. But the beautiful thing about it was every step, it seems like every corner we turn, there are people coming down from the summit. And they're telling us, you know, hey, don't quit, don't give up. You're almost there. You know, they're encouraging you every step of the way. There's somebody that's been there, that's traveled this, coming back telling you how beautiful it is and how you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. But there are no shortcuts there. I mean, you could deviate from the path and walk up, you know, but there's no shortcuts there. Oftentimes, you're going to add more to it. But you can't ride a bicycle up there. You can't even push wheelchairs up there. There's no golf carts to take you up there. There's no elevator to get to the top of the dome. There's no shortcuts. And it's just a beautiful thing. And then coming back down, we're all doing the same thing for those that are going up, that the others did for us when we were coming up. We're encouraging them. We're telling them how beautiful it is, and you know how peaceful and tranquil it's going to be when you get up into the clouds. It's just something amazing. And at that point, I related this to trading, because in trading there are no shortcuts. People will try to sell you shortcuts. People, it's our nature for some reason to try to find the easy way out of things. But in this instant, there's no easy way. You have to take your lumps. You're going to have to climb that steep hill to get to where you want to be. But believe me, when you get there, it's going to be well worth it. I mean, I can't, I 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine the life that I live now. And it is, in my life, really compared to what most other people would say, it's just plain. It's not spectacular, but everything that I want, I have. And that's good enough for me. And for you and for everybody else, it's going to be different. It's going to look differently to you. But the path to get there is the same. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to grit it out. And part of my responsibility as a teacher, I feel, is to give you that encouragement along the way. Because I know what it's like at the top. I've seen it. I've traveled that road. And I want you guys to have the same feeling and the same everything that I have right now. But I know it's going to look different for you. I know you're going to want things different. And that's fine. It's all there. But the path to get there is the same. And the same way I had people that helped me and encouraged me along my way as I was learning trading, I'm doing that for you guys. Because my number one passion, what I was before I started trading, I was a teacher. I'm still a teacher. Now I'm just able to affect more people with my teaching because I'm helping certify new teachers to go out across the state and teach other kids. So instead of me affecting my little classroom like I was, now I'm affecting classrooms across the state. That's what I love. That's my passion. And so I'm going to teach you guys everything that I know. I'm going to give you everything that I have, because getting to where I am now is worth it. It is worth it. So don't fall for any shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. It just takes hard work, dedication, but you got to be able to execute. Guys, you got to be able to execute. No two ways about it. That's what's going to get you there. Learning how to execute. But wanted to share that with you guys because I was thinking about that today. I was looking at my hiking stick and I was remembering, everything about this trip and how it related to trading. So, I hope I didn't mess you up, bore you to death with that story, but it's the truth. All right, so let's take a look at the trade from today. And this is a perfect example of what I talked about yesterday. Not executing a trade perfectly. We have the ability and we have the opportunity to be perfect in our execution. That's the perfection we need to strive for. Not 100% accuracy or having 80% accuracy. That we have no control over that part, but we have control over executing our trade plan that's going to give us the best accuracy that we can get or that we can have, as we implement these strategies. So, for me today, I was watching the price action, and I let this price action take my heart. And I couldn't understand why. Because you guys know me, that you've been in the room every day. I have incredible patience in allowing trades to work. And today, I just didn't have it. And I couldn't pinpoint it. But I knew that once I sat back and I did my reflection this afternoon, where I could stand outside of myself and just kind of look at and assess what was going on, I realized very quickly that it was a money thing. That, I mean, me not knowing my P&L and not knowing how much money I had I'd already taken, I could kind of figure it in my head. But I had looked at last week, and I'm like, this is a short week. I knew Monday Monday I didn't trade. Tuesday wasn't a very good day. Wednesday, I was red a little bit yesterday. So I wanted to look to see where I was for the week. And I didn't want to end the week red. So didn't want to give back any profit that I already had. And in my mind, even though I'm not looking at my P&L, because I added all that stuff up last night and went through that in my head, it was affecting me at the open. So I had to shake that off. And you could see, even though we made $157 on this should have been a $300 trade easy. Easy $300 trade. But, I didn't do it. Perfect entry on this. Right when we broke the low, okay, this is a 5-minute opening range low break, a 5-minute opening range breakdown. And in this case, the wick is longer than the body, so I deferred to the body. Once we broke through, because this stock was on SSR, I just put my bid a couple cents up at 60.60, and you can see it filled. Now, it filled over 3 orders, but you still only get charged for 1. And that's why some people ask me, why is this number different than this sometimes? That's why. This counts as 3 separate trades, but it's all under the same order. So I'm only going to get 1 ticket for these 3 trades. And if you're in a simulator, you don't see this, because a simulator, you're going to fill. If I went in 2,000 shares, regardless of whether there's 2,000 shares offered at that price, it's going to fill it. But here, there has to be an order that it matches up to in order to fill. That's why when you see sometimes the stock will hit the price that my order is at and it doesn't fill it, because there's not enough orders to fill the ones that were there before me and fill mine. So my order will sit there until its turn comes up. So that's why you see, this discrepancy sometimes. Is because of that. But I got in here, it bounced back and hit me, picked me up, hit my first target. We started to make down to my second target, and it didn't. So I'm looking at this candle, and I'm like, man, this is a reversal candle here. And typically we do see these when the stock's getting ready to reverse. And it just got into my head, and I took it off. Now, yeah, if this turned around and bounced and went up, I looked like a genius. It didn't. I looked like a fool. The thing is, I didn't execute this perfectly. The entry, perfect. First profit target, perfect. I didn't finish the deal. I didn't finish. So it cost me about $150 off this trade for not finishing. One of the other things that you're going to see in my execution now going into the summer is I'm going to take 2/3 of my trade off at the first target. Usually I take half off. This time you're going to see me take 2/3 off, because typically it'll bounce here. A lot of times it'll turn around and it'll bounce here, and then it'll stop me out. So I want to lock in more on that first deal. And this would have worked perfectly had I not got shaken out. So that's the deal on NTAP. Didn't execute it well. Those that did execute this perfectly made some good money on this. And some guys did. They did a perfect job executing this. Shame on you guys for dumping it when I dumped it. You shouldn't be following me. Stick to your plan. Sometimes I screw up my own plans, so don't follow me. Just learn the strategy, learn the setup, and try to execute at 100%. So BBY, this was the next trade I took. This was trend continuation. Perfect execution on this. We got the rejection. I waited for this candle to close after the rejection. I hate that we have these huge candles like this. It takes me so far away from the level that it's rejecting from. So it's hard to manage my risk. But, perfect execution here, perfect entry. Hit my first target, second target through here. And then, I held it this time and stopped out when I was supposed to. If I had taken it off up here, I'd have looked like a genius. But I would have broken the trade plan, and that's not what's in my plan. So perfect execution on this trade. And then we waited for it to come down again. I was not taking this above this level. You can see how we bounced up. We pulled back to this level again, and we kind of bounced up. I had no idea whether this was going to hold or whether this was going to go. So when we dipped through it and we tried to push up and it couldn't, and we showed weakness, that was my signal. I got in. First target, perfect. I was holding for the second target here, which was 65.20 or 64.25. It didn't quite get there and ended up taking me out. The one thing I didn't do on this third trade was I didn't take 2/3 off here when I should have. I kind of botched that. But in my mind, my trade plan going in was to take half off. So I didn't really have the right trade plan going in, but my execution was perfect. So, I was real happy with that. So ended up 415.80 on the day. Very excellent for this market. Excellent. Now this morning we had a lot of trade, a lot of stocks on our watch list set up. So you had multiple opportunities if you chose another stock to trade set up and gave some pretty good moves. So, today was a really, really good day, especially for the market that we're in. Now, swing trades are sucking because the market's selling off. I like to trade long on my technical swing trade patterns. The market was working, but when I got in, it worked well for a day, and then the last 2 days it's just been crapping out. So tomorrow I may be getting out of the swing trade AOS. We'll see what happens with the market tomorrow if it recovers. But if it doesn't, I'm just going to kill it and sit on my hands again until the market decides it wants to come back. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great night, great evening, great morning, wherever you are in this world, or whatever time you watch this video. And we'll be back at it on Friday. See if we can close this week strong. But I'm not going to look at my numbers today. I know when I look at it, it gets in my head, and that's it. If I can add it up in my head, it doesn't stick. But when I see it on paper, when I see it in print, it kills me. I know that's a weakness, so I know how to handle that. All right, let me stop babbling. We're done. I'll catch you guys in the morning.